A very good morning once again, and many thanks for staying with us right here on the #1 breakfast show in the country, Morning at NTV. I do have the CEO of KK Foods Limited. That's none other than Mr. Dr. James Kanyije. Would like to talk about the grappling small and medium-sized enterprises. Reports coming in from the Federation of Small and Medium-Sized Enterprises, courtesy of the ED, John Walugembe, indicate that over 49% of the same SMEs are grappling in the just concluded lockdown. That's how bad the situation is. 68% of those SMEs were actually forced to tap into their savings in order to handle household expenses. Imagine that situation whereby you tap into your savings not to actually add more money into your business, but to actually handle the food, salt, sugar at home during the lockdown. That's how bad the situation is, meaning they do not have capital even as we reopen to actually get back into business. Of 36% were threatened by business failure during the same lockdown. That's how bad the situation is. How many had to tap into household? 21% had to sell off their businesses, have to sell off their business assets in that regard to be able to handle household expenses. You're not selling the business to start another, but to just buy food, to just buy sugar, to just buy salt. So as we move ahead, yes, the situation is really grim, and would like to get a real picture of what is happening on the ground, talking to someone who has been talking to these SMEs who are grappling the most. And that's none other than Dr. James Kanyije, the CEO of KK Foods Limited. A very good morning, sir. It's a pleasure, an opportune pleasure to have you on this morning show.
Good morning to you, sir, and pleasure to be here this morning.
Yes, you have been in very many jurisdictions within this country, and you, among so many people, are actually very well acquainted with the plight that so many of the MSMEs have been grappling with during this lockdown that was just concluded, and also the pandemic moving forward. So paint for us a picture, a situational analysis of what is happening on the ground as far as the suffering of MSMEs is concerned.
Good morning, Ugandans, and I'm happy to talk about this. Dr. Kanyije is not new in this business. I've been in the horticulture industry for the last 20 years, and I have seen the better times and good times, the better times and worse times, and I can say it is now at a very low time that I can talk about. But I have moved across Uganda, all towns. I've talked to the man who earns 500 shillings a month, and I've talked to the one who earns $1 million a month. So I know what is on the ground, and for sure, COVID-19 has really removed, for me, the people I've talked to, the farmers I've met, and the other people, the business people I work with in exports. We are almost at the lowest ever. And most companies are thinking to defer something for the future restart because there is no capital. We have been running in a country where there is no any infrastructure to do with agriculture, to do with food. And as you understand, agriculture houses 68% of Ugandans. But there has been no any infrastructure, no investment at all. We only hear them on TVs, on functions by the government.
Farmers are on their own.
The farmers are on their own. No one understands exactly what they do. We understand what they do because we meet them all the time and see what they are going through. And what they are going through is what we are going through. Some time back, I was on this TV and I said, when you support 9 poor people, you become the 10th one.
Indeed.
One day, you become the 10th one. And time has come when COVID-19 came. And when the president says, keep on agriculture, keep on. We are keeping on, but we have no any investment. We have no any supporting us.
So, in a nutshell, the agriculture sector was open, but the farmers were under lockdown.
Yes, because they have no facilities to use. There are no seeds. There are no tractor services. There are no irrigation services. There is no cold chain services. No any production service anywhere. So what are you producing about?
Indeed. So, and you are also telling me that in the next 4 months, if we are not careful investing more in production, we could have, yes, more businesses getting out of this sphere.
Maybe I can predict here, and I want everybody to take me serious. I'm not Jesus, but somehow I believe in a God of Abraham and Isaac. In the next 4 to 5 months, if there is nothing done to these small guys who do a business between 100 to 1 million, you will hear some banks going off. because there is no capital in people's pocket. They have no money and there is no investment. Even what was there was eaten.
But this is the biggest bulk of the micro and small medium-sized enterprises, people whose capital ranges between 100,000 and 1 million Uganda shillings. So meaning almost 50% are going to be wiped out if we do not do anything.
Yes,
Wow.
and it is going to happen. You know, sometimes when you say something bad, people should not always say maybe it's the one who brought it. But I am telling you here, and I am on TV, and all Ugandans can talk. After the lockdown, the president announced a 200 billion support of these SMEs.
Is this efficient and
It's
sufficient?
a drop in the ocean. It's nothing. One company. See, first of all, they have no infrastructure. To put an infrastructure in place, you require more than 500 billion.
Kanyije, 200 billion would only go to the agricultural sector,
To
where
roll-
we only need 300 billion.
No, it
and
will, only,
more.
it will only go to KK because we need infrastructure in place. For example, we run in Uganda over 10,000 farmers across Uganda. You need to have infrastructure put up in eastern Uganda.
I see.
You need to have a cold chain put in western Uganda. You need to have a cold chain put in central region. And you need to have irrigation or the farmer to supply throughout the year. You have seen climate change. You require much, much bigger than what you are talking about. To earn money, you must invest money. Why is Kenya earning 1.2 billion and we're earning nothing? Why can anybody tell me that one company in Kenya exports 1,000 tons in a single week, and in Uganda we don't even export 100? What is the problem? Because there is no investment. 200 billion is how much? How much do you call in dollars? Because that is 1 week. 1 week turnover of a small company in Kenya. And this is 200 billion. Yes, if it is given to this 100,000 guys who run kiosks in Kampala selling chapati and sumbusa, yes, it can work. But this money cannot go to a company like KK, who are thinking of doing 6 million to 9 million kilos a year to turn over $30 million. And now currently they have the business, they have the market, but they do not have capital to invest in any form of infrastructure. And whatever we are seeing at the moment, the international scene, due to climate change, we are losing between 10 to 15% on the market level because of lack of infrastructure.
No
And then
irrigation.
no irrigation.
And the massive climate change.
And there is then, and of course 200 billion is, to me, I do not want to talk too much about it, but it is a drop in the ocean.
But if it is, even if it is small, how can it be spread out so that it is efficient?
You know, when you are treating a patient, you need to make sure the patient, you treat a patient to the fullness, so
With
that
the right dose.
to recover. Give it to the few.
Yes.
Because if you spread these tablets to many patients, all will die.
Indeed.
At the end of the day, little dose given to a patient will kill that patient.
I hear you.
So if it is shining and the drops of water come to the grass, then it disappears. The grass will dry. And that's what will happen.
Dr.
Because
James
this money will be money will be injected in and they will disappear.
So how much are sector actors in agribusiness such as yourselves doing to prevent or actually reduce the impact of these COVID-19 bottlenecks on this business?
I advise the government to invest around 500 billion to export business and agriculture. I talk about only horticulture and flowers and exports of fruits and vegetables. They need to invest around 500 billion. That's where the jobs are going to be created. That's where the growth is from now.
What about
There is no any.
What about this struggling small and medium-sized enterprise, micro, small and medium-sized enterprise?
You see, when you invest in horticulture, you are investing to the local guy.
I see.
And you will support this guy, the small one you are talking about. There is, you see, it has trickled down from that area.
Yes, Kanye.
If you want to throw the money to the guy of 100,000 on Kampala Road,
Yes.
how will he eat? Because the food has to be
I
produced
see.
somewhere. So I will advise the government, without production, I guarantee the government they will see problem in the next 5 months. With this sun, with lack of money, you will see food. Now food is too much because it has been hot. After the rains, you will see how the food industry is going to cripple with having no production. There would be no production. Reason is no money. Everybody You know what makes me
Yes,
think and want to talk more on this is that most of these farmers that have been delivering these cabbages, this thing you see in Kampala, are being supported by people who work in Kampala. If you stand there and you say you need. The other day I have got I have my market in Middle East. They wanted 10 containers of cabbage, and 3 containers of onions. It's nowhere. It's nowhere. When you go to Karelwa, you find a lot of cabbages, but when you go exactly where they are grown, they are not there. So people are not. Government need to understand that without production, and also I tell the banks because there is no company in Uganda who has now a balance sheet as they want.
Indeed.
There is nobody, and I want to tell them to invest within the company if they want to survive, because the production is the only main driver.
Indeed,
this economy.
Production is the main driver, and you are right, Dr. James Kanyije. You have, as an exporter, been driving development in agriculture production through credit support to the sector players. And we would like to know, the members of public who are watching Morning at NTV would like to know, why is it important to support them?
We have been training farmers. We have been training farmers, because if you don't train,
credit.
Yeah, if you train them, because the trainers have to be paid. So we have been putting extension services ourselves into the population, so that they understand exactly what we are doing, so that they can produce exactly what the international market want. Without that training, you cannot have food for export and for them to eat, because we cannot take all the food without them having something to eat.
Even when you give them the credit without the skills, they will misuse the money.
And first of all, even the training itself, it costs us money.
I see.
And there is no extension service anywhere we have been in Uganda from government. The government workers are just in books. They are not there.
They are not there.
If they are there, they do not care. They do not come to train with us.
Few.
So, or they are few. So it is an issue that now with COVID-19 you call it, we have been pressed and against the wall. Things may go on a different note, and sometimes of late, in the last 1 week, I have been thinking that maybe we just have to leave and go and do something else, because
they're selling off their assets, they're tapping into their savings, meaning at the end of the day they won't have anything to use to operate. If I sold off my tractor to be able to handle food and posho at home, my irrigation equipment to be able to handle food at home, that means largely the farm is neglected now. Yeah, and there's no production happening.
Yeah, of course we expected that on this journey someone will see what we are doing. He will come and support us, so that our people get income, get jobs that government talk about, do commercial farming. The commercial farming in Uganda will take another generation, not this generation, because there is no commercial farming. You cannot have a commercial farming when you have to borrow from 200 billion. Commercial farming is something different. When we talk about commercial farming, we are not talking about producing a few tons of cargo. No, we are talking about millions of kilos.
Producing for the nation.
For production, because without producing enough for export and for our home consumption, then the nation is doomed. So for me, as a player, I am still a player. But in the last few days, I am starting to lose hope. I am the best and the first #1 admirer of this government, but I'm starting to lose hope. There is no way you can neglect companies that are delivering growth. There is no sector in Uganda.
23% of the GDP coming in from agriculture.
There is no sector in Uganda, as of we are now in COVID, that will deliver growth than agriculture. It is not going to happen in Uganda. The biggest was tourist. Where is the tourism now? Because of COVID. But the only way Uganda to survive is to put money into production, into agriculture. It's not about throwing money to go and produce matoke or beans. There must be infrastructure in place. You must have, because the temperatures of this world are killing the food industry. But the people are not looking there. We go for training, we go for giving people hose, and we need to give people
water irrigation.
No, water irrigation is not working in when you talk about commercial farming,
yes,
you are talking about hectares and hectares, square miles,
irrigation and so forth.
And you are going to put bottles to irrigate in commercial farming. It can work in your backyard. It can work in your one half an acre small gardens.
Consumption.
But you need drip irrigation. You need sprinkler irrigation in Uganda to produce food for export and for our own consumption.
But right now we are at the mercy of whether or not it rains.
For example, now if we go out, I was talking before I came to this studio, I was talking, we have 1,000 farmers in Kasese. I was talking to them last night, it rained. And they were telling me how they are lived. Then I'm asking myself, have we gone back to the time of Moses?
Where manna falls from the sky.
From the sky. We cannot expect God always to give us food from the sky.
Dr. James Kanyije, do not lose hope, because the government is saying they are introducing new measures, new interventions like the parish development model. The government believes through the parish development model, they'll be able to boost production within the agricultural sector. Are you positive that these growth indicators coming in from government will actually make a difference? And what are your expectations of the future?
The village model,
yes,
for food, for home home consumption.
Yes, doctor.
Yes, it will work. Not for developing Uganda.
For subsistence farming.
For subsistence, yes. For the peasants, it will work.
But that is the main point, that the parish development model aims to make that switch from subsistence all the way to commercialized agriculture. So you're saying it will just help us stay within the bubble of subsistence. 40
million Uganda, 250 billion at parish level. You expect any growth there?
It's a joke.
It's 250 billion to Uganda, 44 million people, and you expect there will be growth? I think when they are doing this one, they need also to talk to us. We are moved from area to area. We
consult stakeholders first.
Consult. I know, yes, people will be happy at the village. Those maybe there will be maybe 30 people, because if I had about 30 million, I had Myoga, I have gone to my nobody in our own 10,000 farmers who even have heard about Myoga money. So where is this? Where maybe this money goes to people who
effect.
Maybe it goes to the people who does the chapati, who does the sumbusas, who does that small, or who does the welding, which is a good thing, but not to commercial farming or agriculture. No, I have not. But yes, the village model would work if the people who are running the markets, who know what is needed, which gives better money, are consulted. But you hear they are put money at the village, but what will the money going to produce? What
should they have done to ensure that the parish development model is the right intervention to help Uganda switch from subsistence all the way to commercialized agriculture? Because they are really sure that this is the model that is going to do it. And if you're saying the model is a joke, what should they ought to be doing to tweak it around to ensure that it fits the reality on the ground?
That village model is going to produce for who and for what? What are they going to produce?
Yes, doctor.
Is it matoke? Is it cassava? Is it coffee? And for who? You produce for the market. You don't just produce so that the world wisher will come and buy. You buy for the market. You produce for the market rather. So that's what we are talking about. Let the government walk the talk and work with us. We have the market. There is a big market. By the way, what Ugandans don't know is that in horticulture only, into European market only without including Africa, Ugandan can make $2 billion a year. Go to statistics and check what are we doing. What have we done? I understand last year we had
more money is going to security.
No,
that's what we are doing.
But you see, this is a conversation I want to take on. And for me, I had told people that even if I lost everything I had to develop the horticulture industry, I will do. Reason is that yes, even the Moses of yesterday, the Abraham of yesterday, are not here anymore. We will not be here anymore after some time. But what have we left behind? My point is, I need us as a nation to talk about agriculture and trickle down to horticulture industry, where we can employ up to 5 million people But the 5 million people cannot be employed because there is no capital investment in this industry. Why is it that agriculture is a place where people think that they lose? You must lose your life in order to gain it. It is written in the Bible.
Indeed.
Why are the people scared about that? Lose your life to get it tomorrow. So why can't the government really invest in agriculture, mainly in horticulture, where you can create up to 5 million jobs? Why? You tell me. Because if we put all the infrastructure in all regions of Uganda, those are employment. Those are the jobs for the people. And then you have all the farmers engaged in activities for the market that is already there.
Yes, doctor.
And the people are employed. You know that I was the other day calculating with my team of the market we have. KK has 9 million kilos required cargo into European Union. Only into European Union, 9 million kilos into European Union. We calculated. And trickle down effect, we calculated from the farmers to the people who will be working in charcoal coolers, people who will be working in a cold chain, people who will be engaged directly in training, people will be direct. We trickle down and found that if we invested $20 million, for example, that's around 75 billion. In 5 years, the trickle effect will reach 4.5 million people. And then I ask myself, why then do government get 108 billion and buy vehicles for somebody who is sitting in Kampala? Some of them are jokers, sitting in Kampala, instead of driving growth through farming.
Let alone the money at UDB, the 455 billion for the SMEs did not go to the intended SMEs. It instead went to big business. You understand?
I have no comment on UDB. I want to put myself into horticulture production and the government.
Dr. James, we also do know that some of the surveyed SMEs, say 12% of them, say they were actually on the brink of defaulting on their tax obligations. Now here is government July 1st introducing a new raft of taxes that are going to further suffocate the SMEs. Don't you think this is further going to kill them?
No, you see, the SMEs have no money to pay because they have not done anything. Indeed. So they have sold even their properties. So what
tapped into savings.
So you can take them to prison and you feed them, because some of them actually want to be fed in prison. They have no money to buy food of the next meal, and then you tell them to pay tax. You see, I am not expert in this, but the economics I studied and the accountancy I studied, what they are doing is completely wrong. The reason is, I have not been working for the last 42 days. Then you send me a letter that I need to pay tax for government. Where do you expect me to get it?
Instead of a stimulus package.
You should give me money that I'm giving you 1 million. Please, in 4 months, start paying your tax. Then there I can explain. You have given me 0. I have been sitting, you have tied my hands. My hands are tied like this. And then when you open them, say, please now pay. I pay from where? I think the government I love is my government, because I am 1,000% support of movement. But we need to change.
Because we do have...
We need to change the money that are supposed to go in agriculture is being stolen on a day, right?
Because we are talking about 11 million vacancies within agriculture. So meaning this is a potential sector that could create employment for our people. But out of the 40 million acres of arable land we have in Uganda here, only 19 to 20 million acres are being tilled. So meaning
have you ever known,
the land is lying idle.
Have you ever known that in East Africa, Uganda, arable land percentage is 66%?
Indeed.
Are you aware that in Uganda, surface water that can go to irrigation is 67%?
We are
in all of East Africa,
all that.
We have 0.001% in irrigation in Uganda.
So away from what government is doing, what measures are you putting in place as KK Foods Limited to ensure that we sustain and ensure the growth of the agricultural sector, that it never shuts down?
Yeah, for me, as a company, we have decided to, you know, there are 2 companies I admire. One is Coca-Cola, and second, another one is the producer of Tabasco. They were started in homes,
yes.
Like KK was started in my house. They were started in home, but they knew what they wanted. Today, Tabasco, every day they do 75 million bottles of chili. Coca-Cola is the greatest, 100-year-old now. I admire those companies. But what did they do? I think they also did what I think I want to do. And I'm talking about it now, and I think I am not minding my words, that I am inviting, or I want to have a discussion with big banks in Kampala, in Uganda.
Yes, Dr. James.
So that we can pattern, develop the horticulture industry like Equity Bank did in Kenya. There is no reason why the commercial banks cannot partner with a great business like food industry to drive production and drive economy into, because currently our company works and does, we have a contract of over 6 million kilos, with addition we can go up to 9. That would be a turnover of more than $40 million. How can somebody fail to invest in such a company? Why can't I'm going to have a discussion.
Indeed.
The KK can be the Coca-Cola of tomorrow. I can deal with the banks, big bank, and we partner together to develop and forget about coming here to discuss about government. If the government thinks we mean something, they will come to us rather than us running to them. I think it's better for us to change the strategy. We talk to the bank. Instead of the bank running up and down, dishing money in Chikubo here and there, we get the money, do proper infrastructure, do proper investment, drive production for Africa, for sales into Africa, sales into to European Union, to England, to Canadian, and to American market. And that's where the production, that's where the economy and the development of our industry will come from. It will not come on this talk show where we talk and then tomorrow we do nothing.
Indeed.
So for me, we are already set. I've already invited one big bank to have a discussion. I've invited Islamic Bank to have a discussion in my office. Look at where the problems are. How can we develop this industry? Because when we develop it, the government will see that there is something. How can we develop together? How can we drive production across Uganda?
Of course, even though we drive up production, but when the purchasing power of Ugandans is actually low, no one is going to be buying this product. Is this a problem?
Which one?
Purchasing power of Ugandans has gone down because of the COVID-19
you see, the purchase of Ugandans will come with the quality standards in place.
I like that.
And with the production being there, product in and out. I am tired of seeing 10% spices in our supermarket in Kampala. Why? Why are we buying chilies in China?
Indeed.
Why are we buying chilies in India?
Indeed.
When our land, our people, our boys can produce, leave these streets, they have now started stealing during the daylight in Kampala because they have nothing to do. So I need to take those guys into the villages to work with me to drive production and drive the industry called horticulture to deliver so many.
Before I let you go, Dr. James Kanyije, are there any lessons to be learned from this COVID-19 pandemic? Because it is here to stay.
The lesson I've learned is that they say, for God and my country. But in COVID-19, I've seen it's for God and my stomach. It's not my country. It's what I have seen. And what I have learned is that always to be on the lookout to make sure that now we invest more. Even if you have invested, you can collapse. But we needed to see that whatever we have, we put at a correct place. If we had irrigation in Uganda, we'd have shipped many kilos that we wanted. By the way, lastly, there is a blessing in this, guys. This COVID has created more market for our produce across the world. But how did we have the product? How did we have the trade? How did we have even the transport of taking our goods? Yes. All
right. Thank you very much, Dr. James Kanyije, the CEO of KK Foods Uganda Limited, for that very insightful conversation, because we are on the loom. There is a looming hunger within this country if we do not ramp up production. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Indeed.
Okay.
All right. You're still watching Morning at NTV. Let's take a breather. We'll return shortly with more information. Domo Vamaso. We'll be right back.